All right, so JavaScript update imports on file move enabled. Enable disable automatic updating of import paths when you rename or move a file in VS Code. Requires using TypeScript 2.9 or newer in the workspace. So, quick tip. This works. You have two options here. And the first is if you're updating a particular file that has an import statement, like I always have an index.js next to a component so that if I change something in the component, the export is always the same. So if I change this to, actually, let me show you this from the beginning. So let's delete this jsconfig.json file. Yep. And now, because we have the file that actually references this one, so if we update the name of this file, it's going to prompt us if we want to update that import. And yes, we do. And it updates that import. All right. If you have the file closed, however, the one that has the import, and you rename it, VS Code will not tell you anything. And it will not update that import statement, right? So you have to do it by hand. Now, the way that you can update the import statements of the file that you rename or move across your whole project is by actually creating a jsconfig.json file. And you don't even need to insert anything in this file. You can, there are a few options for that, but just the mere presence of a jsconfig.json file or a tsconfig.json file if you're on a TypeScript project just tells VS Code that this is a JavaScript project, so it's going to scan all the files in your project. And that's a really good thing, because now you don't need to have any files that import this one opened. You can just rename it and it will prompt you, right? And not only that, you can actually set this to always. So notice that it automatically opened that file and updated the import statement. Now, we can actually set this to always, right? You have three options here: prompt, which is what you saw, always and ever. Always is actually the best option here. So when you update or move the file, so when you rename or move the file, it's going to automatically update all the import statements and all other files in your project, which is a pretty cool feature. Now, the only downside to that is that, well, I guess it depends on how you look at it, but I guess you could call it the downside, the fact that it's going to open every single file that imports that one and update the import statement, right? So if you have a lot of files that reference this one, you're going to have a lot of files open. But on the other hand, it also gives you a little bit of feedback, and you actually get to know if any files and which files actually reference this one. Okay, so don't forget that you need to have a jsconfig.json or a tsconfig.json file for this feature to work beautifully. I'm going to set this to always because I don't want to be prompted. I just want to have all files be updated automatically, and I can see which files were updated because there will be an editor open for every single one. So I'm going to leave this one set to always.